He's still being taught, especially by the media, that the more offensive he is, the more he can dominate the media space entirely. And I feel like you've been a good diagnoser of that, not only from when you were up against him, but from what others have done. So do you have an antidote for that?
Can I just make it abundantly clear that I'm not saying that Hillary Clinton had anything to do with the attempted Trump assassinations. That was a joke. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she did have something to do with them. But I am categorically not saying that, because I have no evidence to suggest that. And Hillary really, really, really scares me.
Did you talk about vice presidential possibilities with Senator Warren?
You guys have got to try the cold chai.
So what are we doing? What are we here to talk about? Well, Hillary Clinton recently did an interview with Rachael Maddow, and it had some questionable moments. Some people were kind of pissed off that she called Donald Trump really, really dangerous, like within days of an attempted assassination. And some people were rather curious at this bit.
There are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda. And whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrence.
Now, I think there's a few interesting things in this interview, and I've been away for like a week and a half, so I think it's a good jumping off point to talk about a few things. Anyway, we've got a quick sponsor, then we'll get right into it. We are living in unpredictable times with digital currencies on the rise, a whopping $35 trillion of national US debt, and inflation levels at a 40-year high. Elon Musk has warned the US dollar is heading for destruction, and that these factors could bankrupt the US. Financial experts are urging Americans to prepare right now. That's why you should strongly consider physical gold and silver to help protect your retirement accounts like IRAs and 401ks. Preserve Gold is giving away a no-cost, no-obligation free wealth protection guide that contains over 25 pages of detailed information and insights. Learn how you can put physical gold and silver into an IRA or 401k, and even purchase precious metals for delivery directly to your home. All you need to do is text the word bearing to 50505. Preserve Gold has hundreds of 5-star reviews and millions of dollars in trusted transactions with satisfied clients. As an exclusive offer to my viewers, in addition to their free guide, you can also get up to 15 grand in free gold and silver with a qualified purchase. So don't wait, claim this exclusive offer from Preserve Gold today. Text bearing to 50505 or visit offers.preservegold.com/bearing.
Sadly, the press is still not able to cover Trump the way that they should. They careen from one outrage to the next. What was outrageous 3 days ago is no longer on the front pages, even though it threatens the physical safety of so many people, particularly, as you point out, immigrants that he and Vance have decided to demonize.
Okay, so she's talking about the Haitians eating cats thing, which apparently is going on in Springfield, Ohio. Now, I have heard that Trump and Vance somewhat tickled this up a bit. It was a Trump talking point during the debate.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets.
Now, how far have they tickled this up? I don't know. I have seen videos of people saying they've witnessed Haitians killing ducks, like at the local reservoir. So there is some fuckery going on. There's animals being killed and eaten that shouldn't be killed and eaten by Haitians.
Do I know for a fact, and have I seen with my own eyes, okay, a Haitian Creole immigrant killing ducks? Yes. They are killing ducks at our reservoir and at our parks. They are chopping their heads off and they are cooking them up.
But I think the whole point of that thing was just to point out the sheer number of immigrants being dumped on this small town. And it's funny how this has become the left-right thing. You know, there's always a hot button issue. It's usually abortion or some shit like that. But these days it can be anything. The right goes, there's cats being eaten in Springfield. The left goes, no, that's racist. There has not been one single cat eaten in Springfield. And it's like that's the new battleground, which is absurd. Now, if I were a betting man, I'd say, yeah, there probably has been 1 or 2 cats eaten in Springfield, at least. But like I said, the story here is the sheer number of immigrants being dumped into a small town. I mean, you've got this town of about 60,000 people, and all of a sudden you dump 15 to 20,000 Haitian immigrants off. Now, we do know they eat cats in Haiti. For fuck's sake, they eat each other in Haiti. Sometimes. Put it this way, if I was a resident of Springfield, Ohio, I wouldn't be letting my cat outside.
And I don't understand why it's so difficult for the press to have a consistent narrative about how dangerous Trump is.
Okay, so that's a bit some people got their knickers in a knot about, but I mean, it's kind of to be expected from Hillary Clinton. I can see how it's a bit average. The bloke just survived his second assassination attempt, but to say the media doesn't go hard enough on him, for fuck's sake. Are you serious? I can't think of another politician the media's gone harder on. Oh, and by the way, Hillary's got a new book. That's what this interview's meant to be about. It's called Something Lost, Something Gained, Reflections on Life, Love and Liberty. And it sounds like a riveting read. Simon & Schuster says she describes the strength she draws from her deepest friendships, her Methodist faith, the nearly 50 years she's been married to President Bill Clinton, and her founding of a satanic pedophile ring with John Podesta. Okay, that was another joke. Take it easy, Hillary. Put the guns away. Fuck.
The Justice Department and the State Department have taken a number of actions in the past several weeks, striking actions to both call out and indict and take action against the Kremlin for their attempts at interfering in yet another presidential election cycle on Trump's behalf. The State Department has put out a $10 million reward for information leading to for information about people who are about entities that are trying to illegally interfere in our election. We've seen these dramatic indictments from the Justice Department, including for paying millions of dollars, the Kremlin paying millions of dollars to pro-Trump influencers.
Okay, so here's where they're going to talk about Lauren Chen, Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, Matt Christensen, Lauren Southern, you know, all those Russian spies trying to influence the election on behalf of Russia.
They are using Americans, both those who are witting and willing, and those who are unwitting and are just so surprised. They're getting, $400,000 a week or $100,000 a podcast to parrot Kremlin propaganda.
Yeah, so she's talking about Tenet Media, a media company that just popped up out of nowhere, apparently run by Lauren Chen. Now, in a DOJ indictment, if you haven't heard, Tenet Media was described as receiving funds from RT employees and therefore the Kremlin. Now, Lauren Chen and her husband were the heads of Tenet Media, and they paid creators like Tim Pool, Matt Christensen, Benny Johnson and Lauren Southern just astronomical amounts of money. Well, in the case of Tim Pool and Benny Johnson, they did anyway. But they paid them to sort of just do what they did anyway. I mean, to say that they were peddling Russian propaganda is a bit far-fetched. Lauren Chen herself is anti-Trump, and Tim Pool did a video about how bad Ukraine is for America. Now, I can see why people are a bit sus on that, but Tim's got to be making like $1 to $2 million a month. Like, between his podcast, his video channel, his coffee company and all that shit, he'd be raking in the bucks. Now, he was copping $100,000 a podcast from Tenet Media, and the view counts just weren't that astronomical. Now, I saw a video Matt Christensen did on all this, and it seems like he was paid fair market value. And I know, Matt, the last thing he'd be doing is peddling Russian propaganda. So I just don't see how all this sort of benefits the Russians. I don't know, maybe I'm not seeing something. It seems like Lauren Chen and her husband were well aware they were being paid by Russians. So I think maybe they're kind of in hot water. I don't know. We've got to see this pan out. Like I said, I've been away for a week and a half, so there might be something I don't know. At one point I did think, fucking hell, I'm Australian. I talk about Australian politics sometimes, and I'm paid by the Americans. But I suppose the difference is Australia doesn't have sanctions over America, and I'm not being paid by the American government, as far as I'm aware.
So I think it's important to indict the Russians, just as Mueller indicted a lot of Russians who were engaged in direct election interference and boosting Trump back in 2016. But I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda. And whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrence, because the Russians are unlikely, except in a very few cases, to ever stand trial.
So when she's talking about prosecuting Americans for propaganda, she's talking about the likes of Tim Pool. Now, I saw Timmy do a video this morning about all this, and he seems to have missed the part where she's talking about people getting paid $100,000 a podcast, which is Tim. It's clearly Tim. Either that or he just didn't watch the full interview.
Hillary Clinton says Trump is dangerous just one day after second assassination attempt. Suggests charging Americans for spreading propaganda. Here's the video. Listen to it for yourself.
And boosting Trump back in 2016. But I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda. And whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrence, because then boosting Trump.
A better deterrence. Hillary Clinton suggests jailing Americans for posting what she called propaganda.
But anyway, what I'm getting at with this bit is I didn't really see anywhere where these tenant media people were pushing propaganda. Like I said, maybe I've missed something. I mean, propaganda is defined as information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote a political cause or point of view. And I just didn't see that happening. I mean, you had Benny Johnson release a video about how good fucking supermarkets were in Russia. You know, that one with Tucker Carlson? I don't see how that helps the Russian cause. Like I said, if it's proven that Chen was in cahoots with Russia, then yeah, she's probably fucked. She's in a bit of trouble. But I think it's dangerous to be talking about incarcerating Americans for propaganda. I mean, at the end of the day, it's speech. The people she's talking about spoke on the internet in exchange for large amounts of money. Well, in Tim Pool's case anyway, but it's still only speech at the end of the day. Now, speaking of getting into legal trouble for speech, we've got our own problems here in Australia. That's a video for next week, I think. I'll tell you all about it. But I'm going to leave it there. I'll catch you again real soon. Follow me on Twitter. It's @bear_ing. All right, thanks for watching. Catch you later. Ta-ta.
Recession, give me better times, give me better times. Recession.